is what I'm to see.
In 2015, Forever 21 made $4.4 billion in revenue and had 800 stores in 40 different countries. It was one of the early adopters of the fast fashion business model we see today from the likes of Zara and H&M. Since then, an over-aggressive physical expansion has led to Forever 21 filing for bankruptcy and shutting down nearly half of its stores. However, in this episode, we will focus on the rapid rise of Forever 21 rather than its recent downfall. This is the story of how a South Korean immigrant, with the help of his wife, went from working odd jobs and speaking very little English to investing his entire life savings and building an empire that rivaled the very best names in fashion. He struggled for years, working for $3 an hour, but then a conversation with some wealthy businessman while he was working at a gas station changed his life. Do Won Chang was born and grew up in South Korea. When he was 25, South Korea's president Park Chung-hee, who had led a military dictatorship, was assassinated, and the resulting power vacuum left the country a mess. In a later interview, Chang said, "At the time, people in Korea weren't living as well. The opportunities were narrow." Chang and his wife Jin Suk took a risk and saved enough money to buy tickets for a flight to America for themselves as well as Chang's parents. Chang had his own American dream. As he was in the coffee business in South Korea, he believed that he could continue his line of work and start a coffee shop in America. When Chang landed in LA, he looked for work straight away and landed a job as an entry-level assistant at a small coffee shop. Chang spoke broken English and had no degree, which meant that his work ethic would be his only selling point. Chang would have to get up at 4 AM and he would get paid the minimum wage at the time, which was $3 an hour. In this salary, he was struggling to make ends meet as he had a wife and parents to look after, so he found a second job as a janitor at a gas station. This resulted in Chang working 19-hour days just for his family to get by. While working at the gas station, there would be customers who would come in nice cars and he would find the courage to ask them what they do for work. He noticed a clear pattern in their responses. Many would say that they're in the garment business. Chang said that initially he didn't even know what the word garment meant, but eventually found out that the wealthy drivers were all selling clothes. Coupling this with the fact that coffee shops weren't as profitable as he initially predicted, Chang pivoted and went headfirst into the fashion business, promising himself that he would do anything he could to make a success of himself. Chang left the gas station and got a job as a sales assistant in retail. On that job, his passion came through, and his boss was so impressed with his commitment that he taught him the ins and outs of running a clothing store. With an obsession for his dream of starting his own clothing store, he learned about materials, ordering, merchandising, and marketing from his boss. After a tough 3 years in America, Chang and his wife saved every penny and now had $11,000 in their bank account. Chang didn't stop there and took a risk by buying a 900-foot clothing shop a few blocks away from a small one-bedroom apartment in Highland Park, and called his brand Fashion 21. He used the entirety of the family's savings for this purchase. Under the previous owner, the shop was bringing in $30,000 a year, but Chang transformed the shop using the knowledge he had picked up from working. In his first year only, Fashion 21 made an astonishing $700,000. Not bad for someone who was a janitor just a year or so before. Chang's strategy was to buy merchandise directly from manufacturers at wholesale prices, and also target the Korean immigrant community that was growing in LA. However, Chang wanted more and invested every penny of profit back into the business. He and his wife opened a new shop every 6 months and eventually changed the name to Forever 21. By buying from manufacturers directly, Forever 21 could decrease the time it took to go from design to the shop, and this happened to be the early beginnings of the demand for fast fashion. As Forever 21 grew, Chang would at times see and approve hundreds of new designs every day, and the young American population would latch on to this new way of doing retail. Chang had the foresight to see this trend early, as he said, "Everyone wants something different and they want it immediately. You have to be very fast because other retailers are right behind you." With this strategy, Forever 21 grew fast and quickly expanded on an international level with 800 stores and 43,000 employees. The company has always remained family owned, as Chang has previously resisted institutional investors and also the opportunity to go public. For example, the couple's two daughters, Linda and Esther, joined the company as executives. The brand went on to be valued at $8 billion at its peak and made its founders certified billionaires. The Changs moved from their small one-bedroom apartment to a $16 million home in Beverly Hills. Chang and his wife's American dream came true. However, his trouble started in 2018 when an over-aggressive physical expansion strategy, as well as the growth of e-commerce, left Forever 21 in the difficult position of falling revenues and rising rents. Chang had to close 350 stores in 1 year and also filed for bankruptcy in 2019. However, with the two daughters at the helm now, Forever 21 has made a comeback strategy that includes a sharper focus on e-commerce, but it remains to be seen whether they can pull this off. Regardless, there's plenty of inspiration here for our lives. Chang and his wife's lack of experience in their industry didn't hold them back because they made up for it with grit and sheer determination. Chang once told the LA Times, "Forever 21 gives hope to people who come here with almost nothing, and that is the reward that humbles me. The fact that immigrants coming to America, much like we did, can come into a Forever 21 and know that all this was started by a simple Korean immigrant with a dream." That's it for today's episode on Mandora. It would go a long way if you could like and subscribe so we can keep producing quality content